Are you dropping stuff? What are you doing over there? I'm trying to play the intro music. Yeah, the only time in the whole show you got to be quiet is these first 10 seconds. Well,
should have muted myself.
Intro music.
Okay, let me try it again.
Well, we're already okay. I guess I'll just shut up now. All right, everybody,
welcome everyone.
Yeah. Welcome to the Big Schmoo. Let's try this. Let's try it in unison. Let's see how we do. All right. 1, 2, 3. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Big Schmoo.
What are we saying on the count of 3, anyway?
Doesn't matter. We're here. So I've been here for a little while now. Will, I don't know, he was at the tanning salon or something. I'm not sure what exactly took him so long to get going. So if you've been in the waiting room, hoping that we would finally talk, we are finally talking. So, hello. Will,
hello.
You got anything to say for yourself? I see you got a nice cat in the background. Very cute.
You
needed some sympathy because you knew that you were in trouble here, so you grabbed a cute little kitten. I get it. I see it.
I'm trying to, they say that viral videos have cats in them. You know what I mean? So we're trying to integrate that into this so we go viral as well. But Tom, there is actually a good excuse for my lateness. You see, I was busy brewing this high mountain oolong tea, and you don't want to see me without my high mountain oolong tea. Let me tell you that.
How long does it take? 2 hours to brew? How does that explain you being late?
It can.
I mean, I'll tell you this much. I also had a coffee, but I was on time, and I made it with enough time to make it before the show started.
Oh, you see, that is essentially the difference between coffee and tea people, Thomas. It's, tea people sort of, they take their time and they steep the tea 20 times, and you make a cup of coffee, you throw those beans right in the can. You know what I mean? You just throw them right in the.
Well, okay, all right. So educate me as a coffee person. What's your process? What are you doing that's taking so long when you make tea? Is it not the same idea of hot water on some kind of grounds?
Well, it's that, but with many degrees of separation and plenty of tools and utensils to kind of go along with it. So you have your fun little coasters, but you got to do the important stuff like heat up the teapot, and you got to heat up the cups, and you got to heat up the cup. You got to heat up the tea itself too. I bet you they don't tell you that on the back of one of those Yogi tea boxes.
How do you heat up a cup? Don't tell me the press. Walk me through. Like you put hot water in the cup.
In the cup, and then you dump it out, and then you make tea in the cup after.
It has gotten to a point beyond.
It takes time.
So like I'm definitely on the hipster scale of like how I do my coffee. I've got this special. I don't even know what it's called. What I make my coffee out of now. It comes from the Museum of Modern Art's site. Some artist made. It's almost like a mixture between a Chemex pour over and a French press. And
you're sounding like you would love the world of ancient Chinese teapots. Then, if you're already custom, commissioning.
That's what I mean. Like I literally can't even tell you what I use to make coffee, but it's so good, it's the only one I'll use. And then over here, you're just putting me to shame in terms of the number of steps and processes, and probably the money that you put into it. So I feel like a normal person now. I'm going to stop judging myself. That's where I'm going with this.
I remember actually one time. Somebody that knows both of us actually said, yeah, Tom made me a cup of coffee one time. It took him like 20 minutes. I was like, was it good coffee? They were like, great coffee. But why 20 minutes? And I was like, because it was great coffee.
You're right
like, there, you sort of answered your own question.
I'll do you one better. I'll make you a good cup of tea. Take 175 minutes. Yeah.
Yeah. With 6 hours of your time, I'll make you 20 cups of delicious tea. I'll tell you that right now. I can make it twice as long or 10 times as long.
When I think of tea, I think of it. It's kind of like the way you have to think of a brisket. It's an all day affair.
Yeah, it's like you got to think of it as a day off. You just sit around and you.
So Will, I see you took Friday off. What are you going to do? Oh, I'm going to make a cup of tea. Good cup of tea.
I'll spend probably the morning making 1 cup of tea, and in the afternoon maybe making about 2 or 3 cups of tea.
Then in the evening, a dessert cup of tea.
To go with dessert.
Well, so I understand that you've had a rough couple of weeks between your international adventures. I understand you've caught monkeypox a few times already. How's it going?
I have, yes.
Yeah. How was the monkeypox?
The monkeypox is not as bad as the COVID. The COVID was pretty bad.
Okay.
We got a lot of dead people from COVID.
Yeah.
So that's not great. Monkeypox, not so bad. You just sort of, you start to sort of scratch your armpits incessantly, and you start to sort of crave bananas like a maniac.
Scratch your head a lot too, head and armpits at the same time.
I was actually sort of just going for like a little walk, to get some fresh air.
And you were walking on your knuckles.
I had the monkeypox
the whole way there.
I was walking on my knuckles, and then I noticed a sort of rival male approached me, and I started beating on my chest, and I was like, "Oh no, this is." Yeah, so it was a pretty bad case of the monkeypox, but I did get over it, and wouldn't you know? As soon as I get over it, I get a mysterious email that says, "Hey, remember your time in Kyiv with Sean Penn?"
Oh yeah, like, you were on. So just for anyone who maybe is starting to watch this show but hasn't gone through the backlog,
this is the initial start point.
There's a lot of people who join in, the new people every week. And,
we have all these recurring bits, and we got all these new people. So
yeah, and our overlords, the owners, they say, "Come on, you don't have a recap at the beginning. You got to work that into the show. It's got to be natural.
We got to have a little HBO previously on." Yeah.
Oh. Previously on the Big Schmooze.
That's all I can hear after the. No.
Yeah. Same. But anyway, so you went to Kyiv when things were getting pretty bad.
At the beginning of the war, I went over to Kyiv just to help out, and out of the kindness of my sweet-hearted personality, that's who I am. So I went over to help the babushkas and the dadushkas and all the Yadushkas and all the people in Ukraine. And my heart goes out to those folks. But I was there with Sean Penn, sadly, and my goodness.
You joined his regiment.
It was him. I was sort of stuck with his regiment, let's just say.
It was him. It was Louis C.K., Army Hammer.
It was sort of the misfits.
Alec Baldwin. It was a rough bunch verbally, maybe not so much physically.
What's that Sylvester Stallone movie with all the old guys that come back after they've been canceled?
Yeah,
it was sort of the Expendables unit.
This was like the Offensives, they might call themselves. It's like almost like a play on like the Tet Offensive or something, but we're just kind of offensive to talk to.
We're just offensive generally and mostly verbally, not militarily necessarily.
But we're getting there.
Right. We could be. Yeah. We're old men. We love to do that kind of stuff.
Well, and I think we knew that it was a shot at redemption, really. These people who have really pushed their luck with the patience of American audiences, and now they really need to sort of reinvent themselves as heroes. And so I think the idea was, well, why don't I just become a war hero? And so,
those guys get medals.
Yeah, exactly. So it's a way to come back and really start to... probably, honestly, not save a lot of lives again, but like this is the one time they're going to be brave so that they can come back and be on a sitcom.
Well, perhaps in Louis' case, but Sean Penn was just sticking a camera in everybody's face.
He's making a documentary, right?
Hey, what are your thoughts? Hey, what are your thoughts? Hey, what are your thoughts? It's sort of like, Sean, calm down. These people are in the middle of a war. They don't want to talk to you, all people. I mean, you sort of, no offense to Sean Penn, if you don't know what Sean Penn looks like, sort of looks like a homeless man.
I heard he actually
like a homeless man sticking.
I don't know if you know about this, Will. I want to get a clip. I didn't have time to do it, so I'll do it for a future week. But Sean Penn was just on this Watergate show called Gaslit, and
a Watergate show called Gaslit.
Yes.
Is this sponsored by some utility company or
no?
It was on
Stars. It was him.
Sounds like the bill that I pay every month, Tom. I'm gonna be honest with you. It sounds like.
It was him and Julia Roberts, and we're in an interesting era for entertainment, which is we've gone from the funny fat suit to the prestige fat suit.
Right.
So you might remember there was that impeachment show where Sarah Paulson wore a fat suit. You have Gary Oldman wearing his fat suit to play Churchill. We're in this era where it's like we're not going to cast character actors anymore. We're going to cast beautiful people and make them look like normies.
I think they did that actually to and any of our new audience members. If you happen to be Marvel fans, we don't talk about Marvel a whole lot on this show, but we appreciate you tuning in. Anyways, in one of the Marvel movies, one of the latest Thor movies, they had him fat, right?
Yeah.
So I was thinking in the back of my head, like, oh, did this guy gain a bunch of weight? That's hilarious. He just did that thing that the guy from It's Always Sunny did, where he just gained a bunch of weight for like 6 months and then he lost it all. But now it's just a fat suit. I was like, what?
Yep.
This isn't even like, what's the joke that fat people are?
Yeah. funny.
Laughably stupid.
I remember when a fat suit was in a sequel to The Nutty Professor called The Clumps. You know, the golden age of the fat suit, perhaps. Although
Medea movies,
the
golden age of the fat suit.
Yeah. Although Golden, we're getting a new spin on Golden, which is now people, if they want an award, these people who've got these meticulously sculpted bodies, they've had nutritionists, they've had personal trainers from all of their lives. Now they pretend to be unhealthy on TV and in movies in hopes of getting Emmys and Oscars. And Sean Penn is one of the latest to join this trend, where he's on this show Gaslit, and the show's actually good. It's a well-made show, but he's bald on the show, and he's got the biggest fat. Like they gave him like 350 pounds, like not a pouch. You know, they gave him like a whole new face, and it looks very much like he's wearing a plastic fat suit in this. It's like there's this good show happening, and then Sean Penn kind of like comes in and he can't move because he's in such a big fat suit. And he's just like breathing really hard the whole time. And it's not like Sean Penn looks that healthy. He's not fat, but he doesn't he's not this like.
He probably already has a hard time breathing anyways because he's a smoker. So it's like, what's the joke here? You're having problems breathing because you smoke, and fat people are having problems because they eat too much. It's like, what are we making fun of here, Sean?
It's also like the things that he did were very much to accentuate the fat suit. So like, I don't know, like when people are overweight, especially to the extent of like hundreds of pounds overweight, they're usually a little self-conscious about it. A lot of the time they don't accentuate, you know, chins and, you know, like, you know, their bellies or whatever, right? But in the show, because Sean Penn doesn't really know how a fat person moves or operates, he's just like sticking his belly out in every scene, and he's always doing this thing that like brings a lot of attention to his big chin. And
method actor, huh?
Yeah, it's like, the fatter I look, the more likely they are to give me that Emmy, so I gotta be as fat as I can be without gaining a pound.
Oh, man. Christian Bale must be shooting himself in the goddamn foot right now. Just why didn't I think of a fat suit? I gained all this weight to be Dick Cheney.
I'll tell you why, because in Vice, he looks like a human. And in Gaslit, it's just this weird plastic thing that like rolls into scenes.
Yeah, it's very weird.
But anyway, so Sean's he's doing that, and he's fighting the war. He's had a busy year, in other words.
Yeah, we shouldn't give him too much slack, but the reason I brought up Ukraine in the first place, 3 minutes, maybe 10 minutes ago, was that I got an email that basically said, I know you and Sean were in Ukraine. So I'm thinking like, oh, perhaps a fan of the show, somebody who likes our stuff. And then I start to get more sinister emails from the same account saying, like, we're watching you, we know where you are, the fight in Ukraine is not your fight.
Ooh.
I was like, whoa,
foreboding,
because I was there, and sort of like, well, it kind of was my fight in a way, because I was there passing out sandwiches. You know what I mean? So that takes
that can be its own fight.
That's a whole morning. If a whole morning, I could have been making tea.
If you're passing out sandwiches to picky eaters, that's a real fight. Yeah. They're like, are there pickles on this? Because I don't want the pickles.
It's true.
Yeah, Woody Allen's over there. Excuse me, I don't like when there's pickles in the sandwich. Could you take it off?
I'm sorry. Are the sandwiches Cuban sandwiches today? I just don't like the pickles and the mustard. Can I get everything else?
I'd like one.
Sorry, Woody. That's just.
I'd actually just like a piece of salami. If you could just give me a nice piece of salami on a plate. That's exactly what I want to eat today.
Do you guys have any Katz's Deli back there by chance? I'm just wondering if you have like a little nibble. No, sorry, Woody. We don't. Usually the army doesn't complain about the food, because an army on an empty stomach is not a good one, Woody. But I guess, this might. Anyways, I don't think, Woody would have fit right in with the Misfits battalion that I was stuck in.
The only place I could get funding for my new film is in Kyiv, because no one else will give me money anymore.
I'm remaking the Wonder Wheel in Kyiv. Wonder Wheel 2.
I'm remaking a film I made 3 years ago, because I think it's been enough time now.
And I know how I can improve it vastly. Okay, Woody.
He's just at the point, he's so lazy, he's not even going to like remake one of his old movies or write a new script. It's just
he's not even trying to fix Annie Hall and be like, let me go back and like make this PC culture appropriate and kind of save a lot of the artistic elements. He's like, nah, let me just remake this crappy thing I made.
It occurred to me that I've kind of just been making the same movie over and over again for 50 years anyway, so I'm just gonna drop the pretense now.
I get a lifetime of funding from Amazon Prime, so it'll be Wonder Wheel 2, Wonder Wheel 3, Wonder Wheel 4, Wonder Wheel 5. Okay, Woody, I understand. We have a lot of sequels.
It's the only franchise to have both 5 installments and 5 viewers in its whole lifetime. Only 5 people have watched all of them.
2 of them were me and my wife.
Sun Yi, she loves it. She loves watching. Sun Yi, let's watch Wonder Wheel again tonight. What are you doing?
Would you watch Wonder Wheel with me again, Sun Yi, please?
There
It
was
is the cheapest movie ever to shoot because you just need an old Ferris wheel. It's like, okay, Woody, I don't... maybe we should give Woody's money to some other creators to make some different content.
Actually, I got an update on Woody. If we could do a brief detour here. We'll stretch out your story. We'll take the whole episode. We'll go back to it every at the end of each break, we'll
just do to Ukraine what the news cycle does and ignore them for a bit and then come back to it and then ignore the shit out of them and then come back to it and then we'll just flip flop a bit. But anyways, go ahead.
So a person who maybe would want more to like rehabilitate his image. I don't know if he's quite been canceled, but somebody who's had some PR problems in the past year, Mr. Alec Baldwin, who you may remember accidentally shot and killed somebody in something that was not his fault on a low-budget movie. Well, basically, for some reason, there was a loaded gun that was handed to him in a scene before they were even shooting, filming, and he was shooting the gun, like practicing, and then shot and killed the cinematographer. So, horrible tragedy. Like, yeah, I got no jokes about that. That's a real sad thing that happened. You might think that Alec Baldwin at this point might,
shut up and go away.
Well, that's the thing they always say, right? Like, I'm just going to listen for a little while.
Yeah. Would tell me.
So I don't know if you've seen on Twitter, he gets in fights a lot. This guy loves social media. A lot of people call him a murderer every time he tweets something. And he now has gotten into the habit. He must have gotten enough distance from the tragedy that he'll say things like, as soon as the court finds me not guilty, I will find you at Big Duck 75. I will find you.
So he's doing like Taken lines to like user at 69.
Like when
your penis boob.
When you say something like that though, now it sounds like you got away with it and like I'm coming for you next, as opposed to like just maybe don't respond to the trolls on Twitter, right? But anyway, so
I've been vindicated of this crime and I'm gonna kill you next.
Right, yeah.
Sorry, what?
Guess who I'm not gonna get convicted for shooting next? At Big Duck. You.
Yeah. You, buddy.
But so, in addition to him now just picking fights and like vaguely threatening to kill people on Twitter, he's made this, he's got this alliance with Woody Allen in the fact that he's been in a lot of the later, well, we can all agree are the golden era for Woody Allen, the 2007 to 2020 period. A lot of gems there, right? A lot of them starring.
Is this Churchill and FDR?
Oh, I'm going to argue we need it only because it led to a very funny hour, a funnier hour than Woody Allen has been able to put together in 35 years, which is Alec Baldwin got this good idea that he's going to live interview Woody Allen on Instagram. Now, Woody Allen, you might know, is like 85. He's a guy who I'm pretty sure, like, he's one of those annoying old people who's like, I pride myself on the fact that I don't know what email is. I do it all through the, regular physical paper.
I pride myself in the fact that I'm ignorant.
Yeah, exactly.
I have an assistant who does all the basic things for me.
Okay. So Instagram, we've done a lot of live streams, right? And we've had a lot of live streams that go wrong. But you and I are youngish people who kind of know at least the basics of how to troubleshoot problems. Whereas Woody Allen gets on there and he's like, I don't know what Instagram is. I don't know what Facebook is. I have a Facebook that somebody runs for me.
Alec is telling him, like, so Woody, there was a post on Facebook the other day. And Woody's like, let me stop you right there, Alec. I have no idea what that is. And they're like, well, Woody, I was just going to tell you something independent of the fact that I don't even know what social media is.
Yeah. Well, so, okay, they get on there and I don't want to tread too much on it because a lot of people have made fun of this already. And there's a couple in-depth, people just watch the whole thing and make fun of it the whole time. And Double Threat just did a very good one. But there's a couple things that they didn't touch on that I think are funny. Just the whole concept is funny. But they get on there and you might think if it's like a conversation, like Alec Baldwin has done moderated conversations. Like he did a couple good ones.
Have his own show or podcast,
yeah, exactly.
Yeah. There you go.
And he, at least in the past, has hired somebody who knows how to prep for an interview and hands him questions to ask. This time, he has nothing. So they talk about, off the top of my head, the first 10 minutes are, Woody, you know, on Facebook, sometimes people will make a Facebook account in your name, and you have to try to get it back because this guy's pretending to be Woody Allen now, and he's not you. Which, like, look,
there's an imposter out there, Woody, pretending to be you.
Sorry that happened to you, Alec. I don't know that anyone cares what Woody Allen's thoughts on like stealing your avatar on social media is.
That's such a weird direction to immediately go into.
Yeah.
Are you mad that people steal your online, your identity online?
Yeah.
I feel like that happens to some degree.
I don't know what online identity even is, Alec. But then another 10 minutes are, so Woody, nobody ever says the F word in your films, right? Or pretty rarely, right? And like that's like the whole question. And so Woody's just like, well, I guess they've cursed a few times in some of my movies, but I don't think it's always necessary. Then they literally talk about that for 10 minutes. Like this is a cool insight that Woody does not have a ton of
been talked about
cursing.
By Jerry Seinfeld already for 20 hours.
Like, okay, great. And so they go on, and then at one point, Alec Baldwin's like, all right, so you've got a new film coming out this fall. And Woody's like, no, I haven't filmed one in 3 years.
Alex, like, he's looking at this piece of paper like, who the fuck wrote this down then?
Just did like no prep at all, has no idea what he's there to talk about. And then the funniest,
what are you plugging? Nothing.
Well, Woody has like a new book of short essays or something out, which is like whatever.
Okay.
But the funniest thing about it was,
if you're starved for Woody content, I guess that's a really good new thing to look forward to.
Well, so Woody's internet connection goes out constantly because he's 85 and he doesn't know how to use a computer. And so let me try to find.
Hey, Woody, can you do me a favor and reset your router? Alec, I told you I don't even know what email is. What's a router?
Yeah.
Router. That's
what happens. It's like, you got to make sure. He's like talking to Woody's publicist, and he's like, make sure you're in the room with the best Wi-Fi. Like that's good advice to tell somebody.
That's good advice to Alec Baldwin.
Are you in the room with the good Wi-Fi?
That's so funny. Somebody told Alec Baldwin that one time, like 10 years ago, and he's like, "Oh, that's a great piece of advice. I should search for the room that has the best Wi-Fi in my whole house, and then I'll do all my interviews from there." It's like, wow, this is a guy who just comes up to genius conclusions by himself, huh?
Yeah. So okay, here let's watch a little bit of this because it's beautiful.
I heard too they turned off the comments as well.
Oh yeah,
you weren't allowed to comment at all.
The way it starts,
Very
like the first 10 seconds of the video is Alec Baldwin saying, "All right, turning off comments now," which, you know, always a great, like, you know, you're in for a treat when that's the first thing you're worried about.
Alec, Woody, let's pretend this is just you and me in a room together without anyone else, and it's not an interview.
We're gonna do some audience questions now. Woody, John Bob 75 wants to know why you married your daughter. We'll skip that one actually.
Yeah. Woody Allen fans 7500 here says your movies are fantastic. The ones with Alec in them are the best. What are your thoughts, Woody?
Somebody named Hilaria says, are you going to make another film with the great Alec Baldwin?
She says, I think he's hilarious. Oh, that's a pretty good one. Oh, wow. I never... This lady's funny.
I'd like to take her on a date later.
I'd like to have 25 kids with her. This yoga teacher.
All right, here we go.
You can come away with there is, if you really love something and you do it with sincerity, there's a chance that you can communicate.
No. What a...
You broke up there.
Yeah, 10 minutes ago, Alec.
We lost him.
Lost him. He's gone. Woody's gone.
Look how mad Alec Baldwin is. Look at this fury in his face.
I know. Well, he wants to call a reporter.
We froze. Can you hear me? Because you guys are frozen.
You guys.
Well, Woody,
that's right. There's no audience.
There's somebody there setting it up for Woody.
Okay. Let me get off the couch. Show my ass. This is the room.
Don't you love it? Okay, listen to this.
What? This is him talking to his Spanish. This is him talking to his Spanish wife, right?
I don't know who he's yelling at, but the fact that he gets up, shows his basketball shorts, and starts screaming in like broken Spanish is
like shitty Spanish.
Let's do this.
I love his hat too. That's very high effort hat.
Oh yeah.
It's not like he woke up with bedhead.
Isn't that funny too? Like he set this thing up. Nobody asked him to do a live stream with Woody Allen. And he dresses like, literally he's about to take a shower in a little bit, so he doesn't want to like actually get dressed for the day.
Are you back? Okay. So.
Oh, man. Not only that, wait, can you pause it really quick?
I lost you on a certain note.
Not only does he look really like he just woke up 20 minutes before this interview, and then he has to like shower after this indeed, but also like, why would he post this? If there's this many issues and stuff, couldn't he just be like, hey, Woody, we should reshoot this? It's just really work. Like, you don't need to post it. Again, nobody wanted this or asked for this.
Well, so, and you also, you could have recorded it and then you can do like a live premiere of these things. Yeah, like you can clean it up. Because also, you made it very clear 10 seconds in, nobody's allowed to comment on this. We are not going to be interacting with the audience at all. So, like, there's really no point. Why have it live at all,
We're too expendable, Woody. we can't have the comments on. If this chat goes viral, we're toast. There's no more Woody and Alec.
The fact that he gets up there and then he's just like, "Donde Woody? Donde Woody? Donde está Woody Allen?
Basta, Woody, basta!" It's just like, what are you saying, Alec? Just speak English. Your wife is from Boston, Alec. You don't need to speak Spanish. Nobody in your house speaks Spanish, Alec. As a native tongue, let's just be honest.
So yeah, as far as people who are like mildly canceled, that's kind of my theme of the episode. Is there's a lot of interesting news among the people who are trying to uncancel themselves, which I just want to throw this out there so it's public. I feel like we were a little ahead of the curve with the uncanceling as a movement in our slasher script that we just finished writing, which. Hopefully there's some updates on. Actually, there's been some traction with it. We had this whole section about this group of like gross old guys who got reasonably canceled, but are demanding that the world uncancel them. And so they're going on this big
treat them as before, completely untarnished.
Yep. So, but like that's a thing that's basically happening now. I think there's even people starting to say it. So you've got, I don't know that Alec Baldwin's been like canceled really, right? Woody Allen for sure has. Another person,
Johnny Depp just went to court to be uncanceled.
Oh, and he won.
He won his uncanceling, so he's now going to be Captain Jack again.
Oh my God! Did you see when they read the sentencing or like the damages report after the jury had delivered its verdict? On that day, you know how the whole thing was sort of centered around the idea that Johnny Depp can no longer get work because his reputation is so tarnished. He was not there for the sentencing because he was working.
Wow.
Which
not only that, I heard that he had to go back to court in another month because he was actually getting charged with assaulting somebody on set or something like that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's not a great look, to be honest.
And all of Twitter seems to just think opinion. Like, oh, this guy's great. I really want Pirates 7. Because I really
want another Willy Wonka movie, another Tim Burton movie, and another Pirates of the Caribbean movie.
Yeah, those were all so good. Okay, first couple Pirates, they're fun movies. But like by the time we got to 4 and 5, you really want another one of those? You really think this guy is this great actor still? This guy who wears earpieces and hats and like has admitted that he has a little guy, like he has some assistant feeding him lines on set because he won't memorize things anymore. This is the victim?
Pretty much, yeah. This is the victim? The guy who's pretty much Captain Jack Sparrow in his real life? What are you talking about? Yeah. Guys, everyone else is a victim.
The guy who would get $50 million a movie and still went bankrupt? That's the victim? Anyway.
I can't control my money. No, that's this poor pirate. Give him some more money.
Yeah, the guy who just got paid $10 million to not be in the new Harry Potter movie. Oh, poor guy.
Really? Yeah. Oh, man.
Because they filmed one scene with him and then thought he was too controversial, so they didn't want him for the rest. But in his contract, he was still going to get paid whether they filmed the whole thing with him or not. So they gave him his full salary to not do any work.
Let me say this. Johnny's got a good lawyer. Johnny's got a really good lawyer. Because, man, that is a pretty sweet deal.
Yeah.
I would love to get paid for getting fired.
Oh, yeah.
That sounds sweet.
There's
I would do that today.
There's actually a funny
my
story.
My contract.
Bob Hoskins was hired to play Al Capone in The Untouchables, and then I don't know if they'd even started filming, but like he was prepping for it, and then Brian De Palma got word that Robert De Niro wanted to play Al Capone, and I'm sure the studio and everybody else was like, "Oh yeah, you're going to give that to Robert De Niro because we're making a gangster movie starring Robert De Niro in the '80s." So tell Bob.
The network comes to the director like, you're definitely going to have De Niro on this, okay? Just so you know, it's not even a negotiable thing.
Pay Bob his salary because it's peanuts compared to what we're going to have to pay De Niro for the same amount of work. But nevertheless,
we're going to have to fund 16 of the next Tribeca film festivals to have Robert De Niro in this thing. So it's going to get pricey.
And so it worked out that way that they paid Bob Hoskins whatever his salary was. And Bob Hoskins sent Brian De Palma a note, and he was like, "Please feel free to not cast me in projects anytime in the future. This is great."
Loved not working with you.
Yeah,
it was so excellent.
But anyway, another person who wants to get uncanceled is Louis C.K., who we 100% talked about when we were writing our screenplay. He's definitely got some DNA in there, but I don't know if you saw. So he's been like, doing stand up again, and he just won did he win like a Grammy or something for best album, best comedy album? Or something like that.
What was it? He won best best guy after being canceled who now got an award.
There was a headline that said that was like,
can we pull up that headline? Because that headline's too good.
My God.
The headline insinuated that there was a new category of award for people who had been canceled who were kind of still trying to do stuff. Which I thought my initial thought was like, this is great. They can still win awards, but then they're canceled, so nobody will watch their stuff. So I guess, that's a great way to separate the art from the artist. No, you know what I mean?
From the Hollywood Reporter, Louis C.K. wins Grammy for first comedy special since sexual misconduct allegations.
Sorry, what was that Grammy award category again, Tom? Best what?
Best album after. The way it's phrased, there's first album after sexual misconduct allegations. So just the first time he went back to work, I guess that's enough to win an award now.
First thing he did after he got canceled was win an award for it. It was great. It was great work.
So
first time doing anything.
He, when he got canceled, it was right after he had made this movie called I Love You, Daddy, which was a very, very blatant homage to Woody Allen's Manhattan, which I'm just going to say this much. Like, for the people who have sexual misconduct in the closet that might come out to bite them, maybe don't make this huge loving homage to Woody Allen's movie about him having a relationship with a teenager. Like, maybe just don't draw so much attention right there. But so that's what he did. And the movie was... basically, it didn't really get a real release because in the lead up to it, all these allegations came out about him, doing weird stuff on the road and having kind of just like a general tradition of being a creep. So he didn't, it wasn't like he was not quite as bad as like a Harvey Weinstein situation, but definitely enough that I think everyone was like, I don't know if I want to work with this guy.
He's a little bit greasy, this guy. He's a little weird. I don't know if I can gel with that.
Right.
Yeah, that's a perfectly normal accusation.
So he did one of those apologies where he's like, I've said a lot. It's time for me to take a step back and listen.
Which was a good apology. I was like, okay, this is how you get uncanceled, is you say you're sorry and you shut up.
Sure. Actually shutting up. Yeah, it's better than threatening people on Twitter, for example.
Especially fictitious, like giant inflatable rubber ducky avatar profile picture users.
Listen here, rubber ducky 75. I'll find where you live. I'll be in your bubble bath tonight.
Listen here, at lovely teddy bear. I'll rip you limb from limb. I swear to God. It's like, okay, maybe take it easy on the threats after the murder.
They're going to have to build a bear out of you, fluffy teddy. And he's like, wait, what?
They're going to build a bear out of your remains, Teddy. It's like, wow, this is just so... it's just not the right direction. And I just couldn't imagine the headaches that Alec Baldwin's PR manager had last year. But yeah, I feel like the Louis C.K. approach initially was a little bit better. Where he was just
Well,
like,
yeah.
I'm sorry, I'll shut up and see if I can learn something.
So he's decided that he's
somewhere
been quiet enough and he's ready to come back. And part of his comeback is a new movie. Did you know that he made a feature film that just came out?
No.
So it's called 4th of July. And okay, another thing.
Okay. Yeah.
If you are the single biggest liability to your movie getting released, even though you maybe wouldn't put a Louis C.K. picture in a font that's about as big as the title of the movie.
Yeah.
Also,
and
can I just say,
pretty bold.
These people, like Martin Scorsese has enough clout to say a Martin Scorsese picture. Everyone else, can we just say a film? Like, do we have to do this thing where like it's a picture, my picture? You know, like Woody Allen does that too.
Picture.
Yeah. Yes, when I made the picture, Hannah and her sisters, I really enjoyed working with Michael Caine. You know, it's like what are we doing here?
It's a Universal Studios picture from Louis C.K.
Yeah.
It's like, what do we still have dirigibles around, Louis? Like, update the jargon. Come on.
They stopped saying this in 1945. I don't know that we really, like your movie shot on iPhones is not the same thing.
Yeah. We stopped using that terminology when the Hindenburg blew up, Louis. So you don't need to shoot something on the iPhone 13 and call it a talkie picture, okay?
A Louis C.K. talkie
picture. Yeah, pretty much. Now with sound.
I thought it was time I come back and I made a talkie. So I thought
I actually synced the audio and the visual for a full experience. It's like, wow, you're inventing things just like Alec Baldwin is. Good for you, Louis.
We decided to shoot the picture in color. Just like stuff like, yeah, no, of course you did.
You guys heard of Technicolor? Yeah, actually, my grandparents heard of that probably, Louis. And you're not that much older than us, Louis. You're probably only the next gen.
All right, so let's watch the trailer for 4th of July. See what you think of the Louis C.K. comeback.
All right.
Phone, which I know is bad.
Sorry, jumped ahead.
I had the thing again where I thought I ran over a guy.
Yep.
Did you run over a guy?
No. I was on the phone, which I know is bad. I shouldn't have done that.
Who were you on the phone with?
My mother.
So, along with what we were just saying about maybe don't put your name as big as the title in a movie that you directed, when probably the biggest inhibitor to people watching and giving you money for this movie is your name. Also, maybe don't put your face in the first 10 seconds of the trailer. Because again, if my biggest problem here is like, oh, it's that guy. And otherwise, if I like didn't really pay attention, because like a lot of people when they watch a trailer, they're not really looking at the credits, right? So maybe there are people who'd be like, oh, that movie looks fun. And they aren't going, like they might get tricked into seeing a Louis C.K. movie, which ultimately gets you money, Louis.
Sure, like, yeah, that would actually get you a little money. You know what I mean? You kind of maybe being a little deceitful just for the sake of making a little extra cash. But yeah, he's very much like, this is my movie as a canceled man. Come see it. And it's like even, I don't know if you can see like where it says 4th of July trailer up at the top.
Yeah.
It also has his freaking headshot to the left of that.
Yep.
It's like, can you not put your face and name on everything? Maybe just calm down a little bit. You know what I mean? It's
maybe
like,
just sit a couple movies out, see if people can like them on their own before I,
or even just kind of go like a softer route, you know, maybe get some like ambient art up there as the profile picture for your channel. Maybe again, you don't need to put your name and your face in the trailer so big. Maybe a bit less of that. All these things could work to make like a better, I don't know. It just seems like he hasn't maybe learned from the
he hasn't listened. Yeah. All right.
Yeah, he didn't listen.
Let's continue.
You coming up on what, 2.5 years?
3 in November.
Listen, you show up late, I haven't heard from you, you're teetering. Either lean forward, take the next step, or lean back, fall down a flight of stairs.
So I'll say this much. As someone who's made a lot of no-budget movies, I can tell that this movie had almost no money going into it, right? Like visually, it doesn't look bad. It looks fine. But like it's not an expensive...
The cameras are good.
The camera's all right. It's a little... Like the focus is a little thin and it's not always that perfect. So it looks like he's probably not working with like a particularly seasoned cinematographer.
He's got a guy on Fiverr to help him out as a cinematographer.
Yeah, which, okay. All right. Yeah. So
all these things are fine.
Looks like a self-financed low budget movie, which again, whatever, do what you want with your money.
Sure. Yeah. We're not really one to
When do I
judge.
get to that point?
Well, I've been sober about 3 years.
No, I'm talking to the point where I'm speaking in bumper stickers.
I'm going to Maine on Tuesday. I'm going alone. I have to go and confront my parents and say all this shit to me. I have to go say it. It's time.
Another thing I'll say. We talked about his last movie, the one that led to his cancellation, being this like extremely loving homage to Woody Allen, and how that blew up in his face about as badly as it possibly could have. So we have a movie here about this sort of like nebbish guy with big glasses and kind of a small frame who's sort of nervous and like, I have to gotta talk to my family. It's just too much. You know, like, I don't know about you, but I see like big Woody Allen energy here.
Yeah, the whole time. This actually kind of seems like it could be a Woody Allen.
Yeah, and what we got this
To
like
be honest.
New Orleans jazz.
It looks like it's got some quirky, like, we think this is really funny, this awkward moment, and so we're gonna play it up for a funny note.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of that going on, and it's like, this is, you know, for releasing a movie that was kind of like a Woody Allen film and having it so coldly received, maybe don't say you're gonna shut up and listen and then make the same thing after you shut up.
Maybe try.
Listen
Look,
at all.
there's a lot of types of movies. Okay, because as we've said, Woody Allen has made more or less the same movie 50 times.
This seems like that kind of movie.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like, there's some existential angst that a nervous guy has to resolve.
Yep.
That usually involves his parents or family.
Yep.
In some way. And there's nothing wrong with those movies. It's just like, you know, if we have Wes Anderson doing them, we have Woody Allen doing them, we have Louis C.K. doing them, we probably have Sean Penn doing them next year. It's like, oh, there's just too many of this type of movie.
I like to picture Louis like brainstorming with his producing partners, right? He's like, "All right, so what if it's about this older guy who falls in love with a young girl?" Like, oh no, I don't know. Walk around Manhattan.
Wait, 1 second, Louis.
Black and white. Okay, yeah, go ahead.
No, this is okay. Yeah. So I just, sorry to interrupt. I just think, Louis, as your network executive here, that this is not going to work because
okay.
we
No,
don't
I
wanna release this.
Yeah.
We don't want our fingerprints on something like so Woody Allen-esque. Can we? You have any other ideas for?
Oh yeah.
For other films?
Oh, I got
like,
a ton.
Just another pitch.
I got a ton. All right. Here's a new one. Completely new one.
Right.
There's nervous guy. It's in Manhattan. He wears glasses. He's really
okay, but it's really like another nervous guy from. Like,
no, it's different this time.
Manhattan.
It's different this time.
Maybe a different city. You know what I mean? Maybe not New York.
Oh yeah,
maybe
got it.
different,
Yeah. Okay,
like,
all right, I got it.
I don't know, Budapest. You know what I mean?
I got one for you. Okay.
All right, go.
So it's Paris, and there's this nervous guy, and he goes to
See,
Paris, and he doesn't like his wife, and he falls in love with a younger woman.
Louis, I like this, but I do feel like Paris is kind of in a lot of movies. So maybe a less well-known city.
All right. I got another one. All right. It's Barcelona.
Okay.
There's this nervous guy, and he falls in love with this younger woman, and he's got.
No, I don't think. No. Okay, Louis. No, it's not going to work. New Orleans isn't going to work either, and neither is San Francisco. Okay, so just cut those out. Just find somewhere in Eastern Europe that we can shoot that is not in the middle of a war.
So it's this nervous guy, and maybe he doesn't fall in love with someone, but he's got to confront people who make him nervous. So there's a lot of nervous energy, and we just kind of see what happens there.
The thing is, when you go the nervous energy route, Louis, it seems like it comes across as a Woody project.
I want it to be.
You don't need nervous energy.
I want a protagonist who just has really limited sex appeal. You don't particularly root for him.
Let me guess. Sorry, may I?
Yeah,
would he be sort of whiny in any?
Oh yeah, as whiny as possible.
Very whiny.
Yeah.
Okay, we're not doing this. I'm sorry, Louis. We're not interested. You got anything else?
All right, I'll self-finance it. Fine.
Okay, well, we'll see what that looks like. And that's what we're doing, I guess. Man, so far this trailer literally seems like some guy who has to go to Maine to confront his parents.
Yep.
And that's not really a great.
First 10 seconds was him whining about how he's nervous, and then the next 10 seconds is him talking to his wife or girlfriend about how he's nervous around his parents. It's set to New Orleans jazz. So okay, let's.
You know, the thing is, it's now 2022, so it's like such an obvious Woody homage.
Yeah,
like the person would probably be on ADHD medication. You know what I mean? He would have contained a little bit of that nervous energy. Maybe he's a little more. You know, maybe you could have the nervous energy, but maybe without medication or so. You know what I mean? Like, you don't need to make it just a Woody Allen guy. Like,
yeah.
So,
all right, let's see where else. See if we have any pivots here.
All right, sounds good.
Going home
Great
sober,
soundtrack.
always tough. The folks will push your buttons. Hell, they can install them.
Hey, Needle Dick. You and I are killing this bottle tonight, kid.
I don't drink, Kevin.
No. Smell that.
How are you his uncle? You guys look the same age.
Here's where we get into the part where it's like, okay, now it's mostly out of focus. So I don't know if that cinematographer, the first cinematographer, left the project because he wasn't getting paid enough. And
he maybe had a good lawyer and he got paid either way. He just left.
Yeah, you know, in the age of iPhones can do pretty good 4K, you don't have a whole lot of excuses when they autofocus for you. So I'm not sure what happened here, but okay. So okay, again, low budget. All right. We kind of switched tones. We have a little more of a sentimental, like, I guess maybe it'll be like a feel-good family thing. All right, let's see.
It seems now the protagonist is like some substance abuse issues where now he's sober, but his family's raging alcoholics. So this will be a fun clash of conflict.
Yeah, I guess.
Fun. This is a
drinking buddy since we were 10 and 12, but he's a quitter.
He's a loser. Ow.
You guys.
He got a hold of his life and he's a loser. Is that the message of this movie?
I don't know. Let's see.
Issues. I wanted to talk about. You never showed me like love.
Sorry, honey. What?
Play nice,
So okay, he's nervous and he's not very effective at communicating. He tries to confront his family and it doesn't go very well. And that seems to be the plot, right? That like now it's awkward because he kind of tried to confront them, but he didn't really accomplish anything. Like confronting his demons led to nothing. There's no catharsis. Which like
in fact, it's now led to a plateau of mediocrity for probably the rest of the film.
Yeah, and now we have nice classical music to try to make it seem a little sophisticated and highbrow, even though it's about.
Yeah, this is an art film, is it not? With the classical Vivaldi.
It's getting there.
When you have Vivaldi in your trailer, it must be an art film. Louis learned a thing or two from YouTube. All that time he decided to learn.
Yeah, this is what he learned.
This is what he learned.
I'd like, everybody. I'd like, I've been kind of off the grid for the past 6-7 years. I've learned a lot. I put it all into this movie called 4th of July.
I learned how to do this thing called Final Cut Pro, and I found this artist called Vivaldi, and I smashed the two together, and it's amazing.
I learned that you can do a little more than just the New Orleans jazz. You can also do public domain classical music.
You don't need to have When the Saints Come Marching In every single trailer. You can sometimes throw in a little bit of Bach, and it's fine. It's fine, baby. You throw in a little Mozart, a little Zart.
As soon as I learned this, I knew it was time to come back to society.
I knew that the world was ready for my message, that when you confront your parents with a vague complaint, they'll get in your face about what it's supposed to mean. That's the message here.
If you'd been a better way, knock it off.
All right.
Dude, you take it too far.
Oh, shut up. Who's asking you?
What's the family stuff you're going through? What's happening?
They're drunks. They're assholes. Honestly, I can't even believe I'm in this family.
Every time you go to Maine, you say you're going to confront your parents. And when you come back, you're having too good a time and you didn't want to ruin it.
You don't think I'll do it?
I hate it here. What kind of people are you? What kind of people are we?
Bro, you gotta make this right. I get you working out your thing, but just go say you're sorry.
I'm not sorry, Mark.
By the grace of heaven,
can you
you're
pause
in
it a
this
little bit
family.
quick?
We know, like...
Sorry, just for any audio listeners, it seems like now in the trailer, the protagonist has confronted his entire family and friend group about their substance abuse issues. So he's doing sort of a reverse intervention where he's the only sober one and they're all drunk and he's trying to convince them that they're alcoholics.
But also, let me say this though. 4th of July is a time when people just are going to drink a lot, right? That's like the nature. It's baked into the holiday for a lot of Americans. So like, do these people have substance abuse issues from a trailer? I don't know. Is this guy just whining about things? Is it even about that? Or is it just that he's like, I'm not like you. I'm a fancy intellectual man, unlike you rednecks.
I live in Manhattan now, unlike you people who live in Maine, in the backwoods of Maine, you drunks.
Right.
It's like, well, of course they're drunks. They live in Maine, sir. There's nothing else to do.
Well, I'm like, okay, guy doesn't fit in with his family. Guy doesn't feel like he's really, you know, cut from the same cloth as they are. I would say that's usually like texture in a movie, whereas here it's the whole movie.
It's the whole thing.
Yeah. But okay, anyway, let's finish it
Also,
off.
too, my sort of piece of advice for the Woody Allen protagonist guy is, if you don't really like hanging out with your family and they sort of hate you and vice versa, perhaps don't go to the 4th of July celebration.
Yes.
Just a small tidbit.
Yeah. You don't have to go have some big, you know, theatrical monologue at them.
Yeah, that'll probably make them love you twice as much, if not more.
Every chick you welcome home to roost, we know that when your foolish dreams leave you dry, it's your family you will need.
That was crazy.
Which part?
Again, written, directed by Louis C.K.
Yep. So that's the big comeback from Louis.
Yeah.
Our boy.
Man, I don't know if I would see that movie between you and me. That seems like a bit of a waste of time.
Well, yeah, I think that there was a point when annoying guy who doesn't have a whole lot of good qualities was not that bad of a protagonist. I feel like for the most part, culturally, we've kind of moved into a space where, at least right now, we're in a phase where we want a little more to it than just like, yeah, I kind of suck and my family kind of sucks. Isn't that kind of funny?
It seemed like, yeah, isn't that hilarious how dysfunctional my family is? It's like, no, that's not funny. Very many people live with that on a daily basis, Louis C.K. Also, something that was annoying is that it seems like the last like couple scenes of the trailer, little tidbits that they had, were basically he falls in love with some girl or something, maybe a new girl or whatever, or maybe it was his cousin or something.
I'm sure.
And she was basically turning to him saying like, how do you deal with these people? And he just sort of tosses up his arms. He's like, oh, you know, it's my family. And then she just sort of, oh, I understand you now. Like, this is supposed to be some deep moment. Like, we didn't see this already in 100 movies. Like, this is
well, yeah,
like if this is what it builds up to, this isn't even enough to justify 2 hours or whatever. You know, you gotta have more depth than that. Also, too, like, sorry to go on a tirade, I guess, but this guy, I'm just standing on a soapbox just berating Louis C.K. But also, this guy's a comedian. Like, nothing in this trailer made me laugh. And it's like, if you are a comedian, how come that happened? You know, I don't.
Is this even trying to be funny?
I know, it's like, what are you trying to do? Make a thoughtful film? But then the thing is, there's not enough thought. Like,
that's what I thought about that watching the ending there, is I think about, like, in his mind, right? This is the biggest comeback ever. It opens the Cannes Film Festival or whatever, and he's there in his tux in France, and he's like, yeah, so I wanted to make a movie about family, because, you know, your family kind of sucks, but you kind of need them too. And then everybody like applauses, like that's bravo, yes.
15 minutes standing ovation for Louis C.K. 15 minutes, we shall do this. We are calm. We love to clap.
He's just like shrugging, like, yeah, I know. Isn't it deep?
He's doing like this. He's like, hey, thank you. It's like, Louis. Man, I don't know. Yeah, I would rather watch Parasite for the 95th time than watch that.
I had the thought one day, what if your family sucks, but what if you do too?
What if everyone sucks and there's no fix? Okay, we don't need to make a movie about that.
So is it funny? Not really.
No, not at all. Bone dry of humor. It is a bone dry, humorless. Fucking, we're gonna have a couple attempts at humor. We're gonna have a big fat man say stuff like, "Hey, you talking bumper stickers, don't you?" And it'll be really funny because he's got a goofy accent and he's fat. It's like, no, that's not even. Are we laughing at the fat man? You know what I mean? Was that guy in a fat suit too?
More realistically, I think what happened probably when he pitched this was, yeah, so, you know, he's got a dysfunctional family, but he's dysfunctional and he goes back and wants to confront them and it's just kind of a big mess. They're like, oh yeah, so it's like a bunch of funny sort of like chaos with the family. No, not really.
No, a lot of conflict and tension.
But not really like conflict at an 8 or a 9, conflict at like a 3 or a 4.
Like in one point he screams at his family, but they just tell him that he's acting delirious and hysterical.
Nobody's like crying. It's all sort of like just sort of awkward. It's really not dramatic. It's just kind of awkward.
It's awkward, and there's a lot of scenes of him telling his dad and mom, you guys could do things better in life. And they sort of say like, yeah, we probably could, but so could you. And then he sort of says like, yeah, well, that is a fair point. And then they sort of have this back and forth that's like tense. I don't know. I don't see enough substance here.
It's kind of tense, but not really that tense. I feel like it's always just undercutting. Like, all right, so it's like a tearjerker, right? Everyone's sort of screaming and crying and weeping. No, not really.
Not a single tear.
They're just, some awkward silences, maybe.
Is the guy complaining sort of like entertaining, or is it like a Curb Your Enthusiasm thing where he's complaining, but it's very sort of comedic and he's finding little nitpicky things that are funny about his family specifically, or is it just sort of general large scale problems that they have that are immediately obvious?
He just not quite
the
sure.
latter of the two. The first one, maybe, I don't know, the easier of the two. Okay, Louis, yeah, we don't want to give you any money for this. You're gonna have to make it yourself.
Look, the world needs this, so I guess I will. I guess I will just make it on my own. It is mine. It's like, I don't know if you've seen Francis Ford Coppola is making a new movie that's like his dream project. He's throwing in $120 million of all the stuff he's made from The Godfather and from his wine. And so, like it's
what is it for? Like
it's like this huge, epic, weird, new movie that no one will fund. And so, he's putting his money where his mouth is. He's like, I got one last big epic I want to make. I'm going to throw everything I got at it. I love to think that Louis is like, yeah, I'll throw everything I got at it. I'm going to film in my family's lake house. I'm going to invite a bunch of non-actors. We're going to film it in 7 days.
I'm going to pay any cast or crew. They're all working for free. The cinematographer barely gets paid, and he's straight out of school.
I sold some of my record collection to pay for this movie, so I took a blow. I'll tell you that much.
I sold my boat for this. I sold my yacht, my 50-foot sailboat yacht for this, just to fund this creation.
Yeah,
this is funny. This is sort of this gives me vibes of like after like a American Idol or America's Got Talent or X Factor, after they sort of have the Simon Cowell judge, the dismissive judge, the one just sort of be like, you're never going to be worth anything, sweetheart. They always have like the person backstage like, oh yeah, I'll show them. They'll see one day when I'm famous and I make a successful project. And it's like, okay, yeah. And then they never heard of her ever again.
But this is Louis after he has made a lot of successful things. And like, his TV show was beloved. His stand-up at one point was beloved. Falling off the deep end. Now he's like, this is the one. This is the comeback story.
This tepid as hell, mediocre thing will get people red hot.
Just enough me to make sure that only my diehard fans will watch it, but not funny enough to really appeal to them.
Not funny enough for them to put any money into it towards giving me back my boat.
All right. Well, so one last thing I have, then we'll get back. We'll finish your Kiev story, and then we'll wrap it up today. Is another person who I don't think he's even really been canceled, but I don't know if you've seen the Daily Wire, who are the most professional trolls really out there right now. All they do is act like annoying trolls. Like like troll is almost generous to talk about them because they all come from honestly the same kind of just like nervous, nebbish, Woody Allen like energy, but just to be irritating and not have any real points to make ever. But so apparently Jordan Peterson has a Daily Wire show now. Did you know this?
Cool, good for him. I thought he got canceled too, but
well, that's where I'm going with this. Is I'm like, look, life is short. I'm not going to watch a whole episode.
Liberals have tried to cancel me.
Well, so he had this funny tirade a few weeks ago, maybe like a month ago now, about the Sports Illustrated. You remember this this model who was like, a bigger woman, but like a model, right? Like she was not somebody who is conventionally unattractive. She just weighs more than the average Sports Illustrated model, right?
Exactly. She's just not anorexic.
And he was furious that this person could be on Sports Illustrated. He had some funny line about that. It was like,
He's like, people work on their bodies so hard.
Not beautiful. Sorry. Like, no matter what the authoritarian mob, like no matter like what authoritarian tolerance. He had some line like that. Yeah. Like,
yeah. I will not be dictated to what is beautiful. This is not beautiful.
Yeah.
I refuse to be indoctrinated by this fascist authoritarian Sports Illustrated edition.
Well, like, to be fair, it's not like the beauty standards of anorexia and like, you know, weighing nothing it's not been a universal thing in human history, right? Like, you look at old paintings. Yeah. There's a lot of time where like beauty the weight that was considered beautiful fluctuates pretty dramatically. So even like
there's a lot of plus size people in those Raphael, Michelangelo paintings. If you look at those things,
I like to think that he goes to like the Louvre or whatever and is like, not beautiful. Sorry. The woke mob art is not beautiful.
I'm sorry. This 4,000-year-old Greek sculpture of Aphrodite is not beautiful.
Yeah. That oldest sculpture ever, right? Is like the big pregnant woman.
The penis of Willendorf.
Yeah. Not beautiful.
Sorry, I will not be told what is beautiful by a 40,000-year-old Neolithic fascist authoritative culture. It's like, calm down, Jordan. They're all dead long ago. You're directing your energy in weird places.
These are the ancestors of the woke, and I will not be dictated by them. Oh my
Those
God.
people who did the cave paintings in France were all a bunch of liberals. If you insist, Jordan. I mean, I don't know who you're picking on or who's your beef with exactly here, Mr.
That's a good question. Like, he's furious all the time.
But it's in weird direction. It's sort of like, I'm so angry at Sports Illustrated. God damn it.
Yeah.
It's like, okay.
They put a woman I'm not personally attracted to on the cover, and I will not stand for it.
They should have every single edition of this magazine be somebody that I'm attracted to. It's like, you specifically, Jordan? Yes. Okay, well, you're supposed to be like a psychologist, so this isn't really sounding reasonable.
Who's the authoritarian here?
Oh boy, people came to you for life advice. This is kind of crazy. I hope they're doing okay.
But so he's been doing these rants, and like he got I think kicked off Twitter or suspended or whatever because the new thing at the Daily Wire is to pick on Elliot Page. Like, why they care is a question I never really have an answer for, but he had a funny ending to his latest video. So you've probably seen, there's like the 5-second clip of it that's already been shared a lot, but I figure we may as well watch. Let's watch the last 30 seconds or whatever of his video. This is pretty funny.
I've only seen like 4 seconds of it where he says like maybe 10 words.
Yeah.
This is probably at the end of this clip. But
yep.
Man,
so here we go.
Good.
Watch the last 40 seconds or so here. So give me 1 second to get this set up. Yeah, so you can see, for those of you listening, his new thing now is he has like a little studio, which it might be a green screen or maybe there's just like a sheet with like a blue light behind him.
It looks like a masterclass studio, let's be honest. It's sort of like an air of professionalism.
It looks like that, or it reminds me of the Red Room in Twin Peaks, but blue.
Kind of, yeah.
I am Jordan Peterson. You know, like when they talk backward in Twin Peaks. I feel like he's going for that vibe. But anyway, this is the end of a long rant about how he got, suspended from Twitter. And I got, for these people who think of themselves as these sort of like, we're the rational people, just the logical rationalists here in society. And all they do is whine about Twitter and who gets banned on Twitter all day. Like there's nothing else to focus on in the world. So this is the end of that. And here we go.
Oh, hang on one sec. Hang on one sec. I'm getting a knock on my door. Just play the clip, but I'm still listening.
All right, got it.
I'll be right back.
And I'm not taking down that tweet or acknowledging that my tweet violated the Twitter rules. Up yours, woke moralists. We'll see who cancels who. Twitter's a rat hole in the final analysis, and I have probably contributed to that while trying to use, understand, and master that horrible, toxic platform. No doubt, I owe some apologies for that, and I'm trying to learn. But it's a relief, in some real sense, to be banned. And I regard it, under the present conditions, as a badge of honor.
So, what's interesting there is he's clearly reading a teleprompter or something like a teleprompter the whole time. He's struggling at times to read it. And you can tell, like, the thing, I mean, maybe he's done this for a while. I know he's been a teacher, but like, my guess is when he was a psychology professor, the thing that he put the most effort into was not just sounding disgusted constantly, but that's like his whole thing now.
He sounded very angry, but in a sort of like Kermit the Frog way, where it's like, I'm angry, but I can't get too angry. I'm up to a 10, but I'm a very gentle person. So
That's
my
frankly,
10 is like,
it's frankly,
God, gee, dang it, I'm gonna F you up so freaking bad. It's like very Ned Flanders energy.
He says in there, frankly, it's a relief to be banned from Twitter, which I gotta say, I don't know that I believe that, since you just screamed at two cameras about it for 15 minutes and posted it on the internet. Doesn't sound that relieved in that tone. That sounds like kind of like just a very funny, impotent fury to me.
Yeah, impotent fury is probably the best way to put that inflection or tone of voice, like sort of categorize it. It's also funny too that he's like, Twitter is a rat hole that is infested with rats that I contributed to, but I only did that, by the way, because I was trying to understand the rats. And it's like, sure, you're one of the rats.
And I'm very mad that I can't contribute to that rat hole more. I really enjoyed it.
I really enjoyed it quite a bit, and I'm so freaking disappointed I can't join the rat hole one more time. If they'll let me back, I would actually be okay with that. But if they don't, God dang it, I'm gonna be so freaking effed. It's like, Jordan, this is so funny, man. It's like when Canadians get mad, it's like not as intense as.
Well, and then so like they get to the end and they do that big noise as they do the title card. It's like the end of an episode of Lost, like, ooh, that just happened. Did you hear that? Did you hear the wisdom he just laid down and screamed at you? Like, these guys, it's just so funny because like they're trying to take all these methods that work for the like populist people who are who can like get into that scary register of like anger that connects with crowds, but they're all just such nerds that it's just like, I guess, I mean, it works in the sense that they got a lot of views, but I don't know how anyone listens to this stuff.
It's the Ben Shapiro syndrome where you want to sound angry, but you just sound like a little like mosquito.
It's a rat hole. It's a rat hole that I don't want to be in anymore. Except I do, because they banned me, and I really wish they hadn't.
Liberals, consider yourselves canceled. We'll see who cancels who. It's like, okay, I don't. What are you, a comic book villain? Like, what is this threat? What is this threat of cancellation? Is this supposed to? I mean, if you're not afraid of being canceled, why is it a threat? You know what I mean? If it's so not a big deal, why are you threatening to do it to other people?
Yeah,
that is a good question.
Nobody's requiring you to tweet all day. There are a lot of days I don't tweet, like, why do you do it? Because it makes you money, clearly, right? But then it becomes this performative anger that's so stupid. And it's a recurring thing where a lot of people don't see, like, they see that and I guess they're just like, wow, he makes some good points. Who is going to cancel who?
Who's going to cancel who? We'll never know. Probably because it won't happen. But I do think the nervous like energy is really funny.
I think the Daily Wire in many ways is much like this movie 4th of July by Louis C.K. This big confrontation that's planned by a lot of nervous energy and sort of impotent anger that erupts in a little whimper that does not make its point well, eloquently, persuasively. And I think just like in what seems to happen in the 4th of July, we should all just ignore it.
Yeah, I think that is definitely the takeaway from 4th of July. I think that's the takeaway from everything. I don't think that's the takeaway from our show, though. And I don't want to stress that, we should just be ignoring things because we could use a couple of viewers on our show.
Well, to be fair, we didn't say we were doing a show today to any of our listeners. We just sort of started one after not doing one for like 2 months. So
that's true. So how would they have known? It's true. But we will be back actually with a great guest on Saturday. We're gonna have the infamous Matt Rose back on the podcast. Looking forward to having his British sensibilities back on the show. And perhaps his expertise. He's actually sorry to tangent here, but that knock on the door you heard earlier, I got like a weird little note, and I didn't think much of it because my roommates just got food delivery, so I was thinking like, oh, perhaps this is from them, But I'm posting this in the chat. This is what I got on the note. So I don't know if this has to do with some sort of I don't know if this has to do with my time in Kyiv or sort of what's going on here, but Can we get this through a translator here? This is like a threatening.
Oh God, another one of these. This is like when
I know, but
Big Garg. We had some message about him. What language is this?
I don't know, man. I just saw this and I was like, the thing is, Tom, and I'm going to be honest with you. The reason I'm wearing the shades today is because I'm trying to keep a low profile. I had gone over to Kyiv, as we mentioned in the show, and I was trying to help out all the babushkas there. And, I don't want to alarm anyone or make things weird on the show, but I have gotten several threatening emails, which I would suspect is coming from maybe the Russians or something, because I don't know if someone's after me or what's going on. But as you can see, and I sort of felt like I needed to explain myself, I have the incognito name, as you can see there on the screen. Nobody's going to figure that out. And then I got the sunglasses. So today is just sort of keeping it low profile. So I'm hoping, Tom, that this note isn't necessarily related to anything, because
so you didn't tell me which language to look in, so I'm gonna run through a couple for you. All right. So
what do we got here?
Yiddish. If it is Yiddish, Google says, do not override the deletion. You do not need anything to do with it as well. This is the first one. Does that mean anything to you?
This is the first one. No, I don't know. Maybe it's not Yiddish.
All right.
Because that's not the first one. I mean, if this is we're talking about threatening, menacing, mysterious notes, I got plenty of emails.
All right. Let's try Finnish. Finnish.
All right.
Finnish. Don't sell the project. The things won't be good for you if you make them. Don't sell the project.
Okay.
Again, does that mean anything to you? You got anything out of that?
I don't know, but maybe it's, it could be referring to our project.
Okay.
Trying to get sold.
Let's try Greek. Don't accept deals. Don't accept deals. Things won't be good for you if you do. Don't sell the project. Pukalai is watching you.
Pukalai. Wait. Okay, it can't be Greek because Pukalai is not. That's not menacing at all.
It says Pukalai. I don't know who Pukalai.
I'm afraid of somebody named Pukalai this whole time. My goodness. Nah, it's got to be a different language. Try, I don't know, try Russian or Bulgarian.
All right, Bulgarian. Don't take the deal. Things won't be good for you if you do. Don't sell the project. Putin is watching you.
Okay.
Putin.
Pukalai is not Putin. You know what I mean? There's a big difference in terms of mental stress when you say those two very different words.
Pukalai. I mean, could be a Russian commander, I guess.
General Sokolov Pukalai.
Okay, so what? I don't know what this means exactly. What project are you not supposed to sell?
I don't know. I know we're working on a project, but I don't know if it's. I don't think they would. Like Putin wouldn't care if we're making a project.
It's not. I mean, I don't believe Russia comes up once in anything we're writing. So
that's good.
Maybe that's the problem.
We don't have any.
Maybe he wants it to be. He wants a little Putin side, like a little role for himself, a little cameo.
Yeah, a little role for Pukalai. A little side.
That's the character. Vladimir Pukalai is here. We've added him into the scene.
He always wanted to be an actor, Vladimir. Mr. Pukalai got into acting at a late age.
This is Zelensky. He is a famous actor. It is time for me to become a sitcom star, too.
I will wear fat suit like Sean Penn and make funny gestures like Eddie Murphy. Okay, I don't know if... Pukalai
we will do Nutty Professor 3 starring me, Putin, as Nutty Professor and all of the Klump family.
We must get Eddie Murphy or it is deal breaker.
No, I'm thinking like Putin's also playing like the big sister and the big uncle and everybody. He's in like 6 different fat suits. Has all the different characters.
He's also like sort of trying to blend in a bit of Russian propaganda. So he's got like himself shirtless on top of the shirt, but on top of the horse, but he's like in a fat suit. He's trying to project power.
I will become cultural hero like the Zelenskys.
I will become cultural strongman, big fat man, circus attraction man for big laughs. He just wanted to be a comedian this whole time. I always thought that if I had a stage name, it would not be Putin. It would be Pukalai.
The great Pukalai.
I love Pukalai.
Well, everybody, we'll see, I guess, what happens. I don't know what to make of that message. It went from kind of foreboding to Pukalai, which was kind of funny.
Went menacing to not menacing. So if this is you, Putin, nice try, but that's really not that menacing. You're going to have to work a lot harder.
And if it's you, Pukalai,
I don't know who you are, but you're not that intimidating based on your name. You probably got Jordan Peterson level of vitriol. You're probably going to tell me to go F myself or something, Pukalai.
Oh, my God. Well, on that note, we will be back on Saturday with the great Matt Rose. We're going to do the top 10 Brits. So
best Brits of all time. So if you ever wondered, is Oliver Cromwell shittier than Winston Churchill? That'll be a great podcast for you.
Yeah, come up with the best Brits, submit them to us. Let us know on social media at Yankee Deer Media.
Submit the Brit.
And,
we'll turn that into a thing.
Submit the Brit.
Submit a Brit.
Other than that, we'll be back Saturday. So subscribe and have a good night, everybody. Watch out for Pukalai.
Pukalai is a menace. Good night.
Okay, we are out.